Dear fellow practitioners and Lotus friends, Namo Ami Tofo, Namo Ami Tofo, Namo Ami Tofo. Today I would like to talk to everyone on the topic of reciting the Buddha's name single-mindedly without doubt and miscellany. Our practice center practices Amitabha recitation every day, all year round. It can be said that every day here is like the 7-day Buddha recitation retreat. Over here, we specialize on exclusive and focused Amitabha recitation. If there are fellow practitioners and Lotus friends who want to be more focused on their Amitabha recitation practice, but yet feel that their mind are filled with wandering thoughts and with deluded thoughts rising and ceasing, this is actually a normal phenomenon. Because we are all ordinary beings. The definition of ordinary beings is having afflictions. Since there are afflictions, there would be deluded and wandering thoughts. These delusions and wandering thoughts is the essence of the mortal mind. As it is within our daily lives of raising of minds and moving of thoughts, when our minds are raising and thoughts are moving, they are all deluded and wandering thoughts. We are just not aware of it. When we are reciting the Buddha's name, especially when we are engaging in sitting Amitabha recitation, only then can we see our ordinary being's original face, which is the flying of delusions, afflictions, and wandering thoughts in our mind. Therefore, when we recite the Buddha's name, if there are delusions or wishful thinking about things that shouldn't be thought, thoughts that should not arise and yet arise, when this happens, don't worry about it, don't get afflicted. The vow Amitabha Buddha took to rescue sentient beings is for this type of sentient beings. The beings that Amitabha Buddha wants to rescue is not that once the Buddha's name had been recited, the minds are able to be pure with no afflictions. Those kind of sentient beings, since it's like this, although our Amitabha recitation has deluded and wandering thoughts in it, wouldn't we definitely attain rebirth in the Pure Land? Because this is who Amitabha Buddha mainly wants to save. However, if you want to have lesser deluded thoughts during your recitation, it's not that there's no way. The method is that before our recitation, there's some emphasis on a few points. Being upright, sitting erect, and closing your eyes. Being focused on Amitabha recitation and reciting it out without restraint. Meaning that when we recite the Buddha's name, the body should be upright and sit erect with the eyes closed. Naturally, the doors of the sixth sense will be gathered. As the eyes don't see, the mind wouldn't move, and since the mind don't move, the ears would also be less likely to be affected by sounds from the external environment. Therefore, when we recite the Buddha's name, no matter how long the duration of our recitation or sitting is, the eyes shouldn't look and should be closed as much as possible. Whatever movements there is in the surroundings, whether there is people coming and going, ignore all of it. Don't get affected. Of course, if you're sleepy, you can slightly or fully open your eyes to brace up your spirit and keep yourself awake. If you want to be more focused and absorbed, you can use the method of 10 recitation with counting, which is when you're reciting the Buddha's name, you are clear in knowing the number of repetitions you have recited. When you're reciting the first repetition, you're aware that it's the first. When reciting the second repetition, you're aware that it's the second. Until the 10th repetition. Every words in the repetition of Amitabha recitation are clear. On one side, the mind is reciting the Buddha's name, and on the other, it is counting the number of recitations. This way, the mind will not think of other matters. Neither will it let other matters enter the mind and cause distractions. However, using this method doesn't mean that all the wandering thoughts will be eradicated. They will still exist. It's just that it will be more subtle. It will not be that coarse. If the wandering thoughts are coarse, the 10 recitation with counting wouldn't be that clear. Does everyone understand this? We will try this out. I'll start reciting first. Everyone quietly listen to my recitations. I will recite a little faster than normal. Namo Ami Tofo. 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 Namo. Dear Lotus friends, how many repetitions have I recited? 10 repetitions. When I'm reciting, should everyone count using your fingers? Or using your mind? To count 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no need to count 1, 2, 3, 4, as you are reciting one repetition after another. Therefore, you only need to know the number of repetitions you have recited, and not use fingers to count. Neither is it counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, not like that. Just knowing what number would be good enough. Recite until the 10th repetition, then restart from 1 again. Repeating the cycle. The 10 repetitions after 10 repetitions like this. Of course, this is a method that would allow yourself to be more absorbed and concentrated. If our minds during Amitabha recitation is already very still, then there's no need to count. It would be needless. And if you can't remember the number you're counting for 10 repetitions, then you can split it into 3 parts. Firstly, 3 repetitions, 3 repetitions, and then 4 repetitions. Adding them up would still be equivalent to 10 repetitions, known as 3, 3, 4. If your mind is already very still during recitation, using 5 repetitions is also possible. Even 2 or 3 repetitions is also possible. It is used according to the individual's roots. For the 10 repetitions with counting method, if you can remember the number of repetitions clearly, with no wandering thoughts, once we recite the cycle of 10 recitations once, or 2 cycles of 10 repetitions, unknowingly our upper body will be erect with an erect posture, as the body and mind are interrelated. If our minds are stable, our chi and blood will be stable too. If the mind is still, the chi and blood will flow smoothly. When they flow smoothly in the body, naturally the body will be upright. If the body is not sitting straight with the head facing down, it either signifies sleepiness, or, while reciting the Buddha's name, the mind is thinking about wandering thoughts. Hence, from the outer appearance, you can see his mind. When sitting, if you can cross your legs, then do it as much as possible. Although sitting cross-legged, the body is still in a completely relaxed state. Sitting erect and in stillness, understanding and using these 2 main points would be sufficient, which are relaxation and stillness. Relaxing and letting go of the body and not getting attached. Not grasping, this is called relaxation. Being completely relaxed and sitting upright properly. Don't bother and worry about this body. Put your thoughts entirely on the Buddha's name. One repetition after another. The mind will naturally quieten down. Our body originally has such chi activity. When the mind is relaxed and still, it will follow the natural path and flow. If our body has any sort of illness, when the chi and blood can't circulate and flow properly, there will be a feeling of numbness. But it will ultimately pass. Once it's able to flow, the numb feeling will diminish, and so will the illness. Therefore, when you are over here reciting the Buddha's name, use the method of sitting cross-legged as much as possible. Sit erect and well once you're in a cross-legged position. The body will then relax. The mind should be focused on the Buddha's name. Unknowingly, the body will be very upright, and there will be lesser wandering thoughts. Without wandering thoughts, the body will also be more upright. They affect each other mutually. I hope that when we are reciting the Buddha's name, we will use this method to recite as much as possible. I'll talk briefly until here today. Thank you, everyone. Namo Amitabha Buddha. Namo Ami Tofo. 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 Namo Ami Tofo.